Welcome to the Headbangers at the Hangar podcast. I am your host, Andrew Mercer. For all returning listeners, thank you for the support. If you are a new listener to the show, welcome. We are Headbangers at the Hangar, your best heavy metal podcast out there with a UFO twist. We are the best because we are the only heavy metal podcast out there with a UFO twist. So by default, we are number one. Welcome to the show, guys. I have a great episode today. I did an interview with Kieran Scott from this new hot band over in the UK called Death Collector, but we'll get to that in just a little bit. First of all, I would like to thank my last guest, Stephen Keeler. That was a great episode that we did. And as we had mentioned in that episode, Stephen does a show called Rock Fantasy Files. Now, since I aired his podcast, he's had me to come on his show twice. And the first time we did, the way his show goes, he has a panel of anywhere from like 5 to 10 people where he picks 2 albums based on anniversaries. And he does it like versus style, like which album's better, blah, blah, blah. You know, the first one that we did was the Deftones Around the Fur versus Korn's Untouchables, which to me, it's a no-brainer. It's obviously Around the Fur. Around the Fur is a better album. Case closed. I'm a huge Korn fan, okay? Korn is a better overall band than Deftones, but if you're just comparing those 2 albums, Around the Fur is much better. But in the episode, Untouchables won. Like, it won by 1 vote. I think there was like 9 of us, and Untouchables won. I think it was just by name recognition, but what are you going to do? And I wanted to show again last night. We did a 1967 edition of The Doors where we compared the self-titled with Strange Days. Both are great albums. Strange Days, to me, for a metalhead, is like a really good gateway to get into the Doors. Like, it's very dark to me, the writing, experimental, whereas the first one is a lot more mainstream, kind of more California. But overall, I think you have to give the nod to the self-titled debut Doors album, which did win last night. But I mean, Strange Days, what are you gonna do? I mean, if you're rating them both out of 10, the first one's 10, and Strange Days is 9.9. You know, that's my opinion. So thank you again to Steven for coming on. If you guys missed that episode, everything's on YouTube, so go back and check it out. And I want to give a shout out to my guy Jeff Pow, who came on the show. If you don't remember, Jeff is on TikTok doing reaction videos. He's got a couple with over 1 million views, and my guy Jeff just got an endorsement by Solar Guitars. So I spoke with Kieran on this episode about like the effects of social media and promoting yourself and the hesitancy to go on TikTok and how to use it. And there's a lot of people who will say, well, it doesn't pay off, you know, you're just chasing numbers. But Jeff is an example of how it does pay off. Like, it can benefit you monetarily. Like, he got an endorsement, he's probably making some cash. So congratulations to him. You know, we're all just trying to navigate these new times, all the social media stuff, just trying to get a grasp on it. You know, every day is different. So yeah, my guest my guest this week, Kieran Scott. He is the vocalist in a brand new band that came about. They are from the UK. They are called Death Collector. Now, they just put out a 3-track EP called Time's Up, which is a great title for a death metal band. And they're kind of notable because their drummer is Andy from Bolt Thrower. Now, Bolt Thrower was a death metal band. I think they're still current. I'm not sure, but they were killing it back in like the early mid-90s. They had some really great albums, and Andy was the drummer during that time period. So, you know, the guys all got together, which we'll touch upon in the interview, and they made Death Collector. And you know, it doesn't sound like it, but Kieran said that the guys, they basically recorded it intending on it to be more of like a demo than kind of like an EP, which I didn't really catch listening to it. I thought it sounded pretty damn good. So it's kind of blown up a little bit, and they're very happy with it. Got a full-length album that'll be coming out within the year to date, you know, so maybe not the year 2022, but if today is March 17th, 2022, they'll have it out before March 17th, 2023. So looking forward to that, and I'm going to play a song from the Time's Up EP. This is my favorite track off the EP. It's called Terrorizer. Big breakdown coming on this one. There's Kieran. Oh boy. Ugh. Groovy too, it grooves. That's a pretty good representation right there. So Kieran's main band is this band called Ashen, who I had not heard about prior to the interview. Of course, I did my research, and this band is fucking sick, yo. Ashen is the album that they put out was called Obsolescence. It's a lot more polished production-wise, but they were in a studio for it, and these guys actually got onto Bloodstock twice, which is a big metal festival over there in Europe. They played it first in 2017. They won Battle of the... I'm not sure if it was quote-unquote Battle of the Bands, but the same kind of format, you get it. So they won and they got on it, and then Bloodstock liked those guys so much, they ended up dropping their album. And then in 2021, Bloodstock invited them back, so they just played the most recent Bloodstock. So I'm going to play a track from that album, Obsolescence. This one is called Fall of Thine Eyes. There he is. He looks a little bit like a young Surge from System. Good dynamics in those vocals. And since I mentioned Bloodstock, they actually have their full set from 2017 on YouTube, and it's good quality. You know, if you're a music fan, you know, you go to YouTube, you type in your favorite band live, and 80% of the videos are crappy, you know, because it's hard for the audio on like a cell phone to like pick up, you know, the bass and the guitars, and it's impossible. But the festival actually recorded it. They let those guys use it. So here is, what do we got here? This one is Unbroken Faith. Unbroken Faith from Bloodstock 2017. Sounds good. Killer, man. Must be so cool playing up there. Guys, that is going to wrap it up. Now, this is being recorded on St. Patrick's Day, so if you are partaking, have a fun, safe St. Patrick's Day. Drink some Guinness or whatever your drink of choice is. Have some corned beef, some cabbage, some Irish soda bread. Whatever you want to partake in, partake, baby. Now, me personally, I have a very young child, so I really don't need an excuse to drink. But any excuse I can get, I will take. Just kidding. I love my daughter. She is wild, though. So, happy St. Patrick's Day. If you are a fan of basketball, college, the March Madness starts today. A lot of people into that, so fill out your brackets if there's still time. All right, guys, we are Headbangers at the Hangar. Go back, listen to some past episodes if you missed any. If you want to reach out to the show, just email me headbangersatthehangar@gmail.com, and hangar is spelled Hangar. You can check me out on TikTok. My personal page is on Instagram, Facebook, if you want to dive into that. And without further ado, here he is, Kieran Scott. Hey, how's it going, Kieran?
Oh yeah, very nice to meet you, dude.
Yeah, first of all, I just wanted to thank you for being accommodating. I'm in the U.S. and you're over there in the UK. So there's a time hour difference. That's always kind of tricky, but thank you very much for making it work.
Ah, it's okay. I mean, I've got to like bend with everything else that's happening at the moment, but I've always got time to talk to people, so I'm glad I managed to sort it out finally.
All right, awesome, man. I repped out my my UK shirt. This is
I like it.
You like I'm a metalhead, but I love Oasis. You like Oasis at all?
Everyone hates Oasis. I don't get it. I mean, if you only pay attention to, like, you know, the popular stuff that's in the charts, like, they're not a bad band at all. They got some good songs and some good lyrics, so they don't deserve the hate they get, honestly.
Yeah, the way I tell people, I'm like, yeah, like it was your typical kind of like 90s alternative pop stuff, but like they have the attitude of a metal band. Like they're badasses, you know, like they don't give a fuck.
Yeah, and they work hard as well. You know, they're not like queue jumpers, as it were. They're not skipping the line. They worked really hard to get where they got.
Yeah, I mean, they write all their stuff, which can't be said about everybody. But enough about Oasis. Before I ask you any questions, first of all, congratulations on the new EP. Time's Up.
Much.
It was I listened to it about 4 times in preparation. Like it's super heavy. It's just like it's raw chaos. That's how I would say
articulated chaos.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
How's it been received so far?
Oh, it's been crazy. It's just like it's not the first time I've released a record, so I have kind of an expectation of how it will go, especially a new band, because I started the new band Grimorte. That was in the beginning of lockdown, almost 2 years ago now. So I kind of had an idea what it's like to grassroot a DIY bedroom band sort of thing, you know, especially during at the moment. So I was expecting it to go how that did, which was some support. Some people enjoyed it, mostly ignored because nobody knew who it was, and that's fair enough. Like, at the end of the day, you got to prove yourself, right? So I was like, fine. What I didn't expect was Death Collector to go bananas. I mean, we do understand. I'm not like trying to underplay what we've achieved with it, but those are all bedroom recordings. They're not studio recordings. They were very rough. You know, these are demo quality. You know, like we did them out quickly, and we thought that'd be a nice little demo EP, just to give people an idea what we're doing, how it will sound, you know, because we've already worked on the album already. It's pretty much done, so we just need to get it all sorted, sign off on it, and then studio. But so when we released it, as I said, my expectation was quite low, so everything that's happened from it, I mean, as I said, we've got like 20,000 streams on the EP now on Spotify, and that streams on everything, but from a band that started with nothing to just bang, it's crazy. The amount of support we've been getting has been kind of hard to process. I'm just kind of going along with it. It's like a wave, and I'm just sort of just bobbing on the wave.
Yeah, and you just put it out on the 4th, right?
4th of March. So it's been what? God, it's not even been 12. It's just
About
been 2 weeks almost.
Yeah.
Almost 2 weeks. Yeah. Well, yeah.
It didn't sound like they were recorded in a bedroom. It's like
Right?
in general, like what I found, like black metal and death metal, like it's kind of not supposed to be super produced.
Well,
So
no,
I listened
yeah,
to
true.
it, and I just thought it would. I thought for sure you guys were in a studio, and it was just that was kind of the way you wanted
intended.
to do it. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it wasn't intended at all. Like so, it just I think it inadvertently is just gonna have that old school death metal sound just because of the way it was done. So it was Gord Olson of Darkened, really good band. Go check them out. He mixed it for us. So he was actually just as an integral part of the sound that EP had as well. As we gave him all the bits. So he's a magician. I've never seen anyone create a sound that huge from directing guitar, directing bass. I mean, I recorded the vocals on this microphone. So, and I was unfamiliar with this microphone at that point, so I literally had it for a week at that point.
Yeah.
So I was getting used to it and all the settings. And Andy recorded his drums on an electric drum kit, like a Roland electric drum kit.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was no in a way like, you know, the proper death metal way, and it was all, you know, like head amps and you know, you got mic'd up the you know, the speakers and stuff. But no, just DI in, and then Gord did some magic, and then we have a product. So it's crazy because people think that like to create great music and great sound you have to have this like knowledge and all this equipment and stuff, but what I find it helps the most is to just not to overthink it and let it naturally have the sound it should.
Yeah.
Everything, because what we're doing is the mix between hardcore, it's got a bit of punk, and it's got a bit of and it's got the death metal there. It's kind of an amalgamation of all that. That comes from the influences in the band, you know. So it's interesting to see how that came out, and I think people resonated with that sound. I believe that's I believe.
So are you guys done recording stuff? You said you were pretty much done with the album.
No, not yet. Yeah. So
No?
the album is, as I said, the album is written, as in we've got. all the
Okay, it's
bits.
written. Got it.
Yeah. But we need to record it. So
All right. So
it's
what are the plans? When are you heading into the studio?
we're not sure yet, but it's looking like later on this year, so probably October, September time around there. So, and we're looking for a 2023 release, definitely. We were thinking about maybe releasing it this year, but we also agreed on it, but I made a point that it's no point releasing things at the end of the year because it gets forgotten about very quickly, because then it's like 2023, and then it's albums of the year 2023, and everyone's forgot about 2022. So we do need to keep that in consideration, because as a new band, you do have to keep that in consideration. If you're a veteran band, it doesn't matter. Like the new Lamb of God album, for example, that could be released in December 20th, and it would still be played all through 2023. So
Yeah.
that's kind of the difference you kind of need to play with. You need to capitalize on the best opportunities.
All right, man. Like we're all looking forward to you guys getting in there and doing the full length. So how did you guys get together? It's you're a collection of established musicians already. Andy is the most well known from Bolt Thrower, but how did all you guys come about?
Well, so my band Ashen Crown, I joined them about 5 years ago, so I've been doing gigs and stuff, and we gigged with Memoriam, which was Andy's band after Bolt Thrower that he did with Carl Willits, you know, same band, Bolt Thrower. So they did a couple of albums with that, but he said he couldn't really do it anymore because his tour life's not for him, and he's getting a bit on in his years a little bit. So he was like, I'm just gonna take a step back, but he still wants to do music. So him and Mick, who are guitarists, who's a absolutely fantastic guitarist, he's in a band called Zealot Cult, and they did some jams together. They did a couple of covers, and that was during over the lockdown period. So Andy was just like, well, I want to make a little project. And Andy came to me to do some graphics, because I do a lot of graphic design work. I mean, it's good fun. It's only on this. It's nothing crazy, you know. I just enjoy doing it. So I was like, okay, yeah, I'll do the logo. And then I was like, oh, so it's a band, is it? He went, yeah. I said, oh, who's the vocalist? And he was like, oh, nobody yet. And I was like, do you need a vocalist?
I know a guy.
Yeah, I said, do you need a vocalist? And he's there like, yeah, sure. I mean, because he didn't think about it, but then he was like, oh yeah, you're a vocalist, aren't you? I was like, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he's seen me live before, so he knows what I can do. Like, but I've matured a lot since then. So I was like, yeah, I can do it justice, not a problem. And so yeah, just straight in, didn't have to audition or anything. And he was like, yeah, cool, yeah.
Nice. So
there's no like story of triumph or anything. It was more of just like I know him. Yeah, he's all right. Yeah, he'll do.
Sometimes that's the
keeps me humble. I'll tell you that. Like,
yeah. So you said Andy wants to kind of scale it back. Are there any touring plans though? Any plans for like live shows or anything like that yet?
We are planning like maybe a couple of dates, and that would just purely be fan service, and just play it live, and it'll feel good. And I agree, because I've already got my main band Ashen Crown anyway, and everyone else has got their projects and live and busy, and they're busy. So, and obviously with Mick living in Ireland, it's not too far, but transportation and gigging gets a little bit complicated. So what we decided to do is do a couple of one-off shows, make sure they're like kind of like big ones if we can, like main support slots, or opening if it's a bigger band, something like that. Hopefully at the point we get to that point where there's a demand, because we won't delude ourselves. Yes, we have a bit of a fan base at the moment, but we're still new and we're still unknown, and we still got to cut our teeth a bit. So gigs will definitely be happening. Touring, very unlikely, like really unlikely.
Yeah.
Which is fine. Maybe at best we might get 2 dates in a row, maybe at best. But otherwise, we're okay with that. That's not a big issue.
What are your thoughts on the whole like live stream thing, play along, all that kind of came about during the pandemic? What are your opinions of them?
Well, it's interesting because, like, before the pandemic hit, live streams still existed, and that's something to really think about, because don't forget, like, you got Twitch and things like that, so that was really where it all came from. Like, Matt Heafy from Trivium, he pioneered, in a way, or at least led the charge for Twitch streaming and streaming music. So I watched him do that, and I saw how accessible it was and how much of a success it could be, especially if you're a creative artist like himself, multiple instrumentalist, etc. So when I heard about, because we had a few offers to do some live streams, and we did do them as Ashen Crown on my other band, and they were good in one way, as in it was something, and it was better than nothing.
Yeah.
But it felt disconnected for me. I felt very ironically disconnected from everything, even though it was, for me personally, I like live. I like to be there. And it was fine to at least people were watching and they were live streaming, they were chatting, and that was really cool. I really enjoyed that aspect to it. But yeah, I mean, live streaming is not going to go away. I feel like it's going to become better and better and better. I mean, Code Orange, they did their live stream thing when they did their album launch, and that was actually really good. The way they did it, I thought it was very well made. It wasn't bad quality. It was really well thought out. So as things progress, and relevant of the pandemic, it's more of like, venues are becoming more and more, less and less over this side of the pond. I don't know what it's like in America.
Yeah, us too.
Yeah. All the venues are closing down. There's no governmental support for the arts really at all. So like we're scraping by and doing what we can, but times are getting desperate. Bands are disbanding. So I feel like there is going to be more of a shift to online presence, because if you see like all the most successful bands at the moment, so let's use Ginger for example.
Yeah.
They're very successful because they were so cleverly marketed themselves. I commend them. Like, I think they were geniuses for how they marketed themselves, how they got it all ready, organized, got all the content, and they were ready for, to make it big. So I have full respect for what they did. And obviously also as well what they're going through at the moment in Ukraine, I can't even imagine. So
yeah, sure.
I'm hoping that they come out of that the other side, because I mean, a lot of people don't like Ginger for various reasons, but you gotta respect them.
Yeah, they got.
I learned lessons from them.
Yeah, well, I don't want to say they got lucky, but I guess they capitalized on the whole reaction video thing,
yep.
which is also clever. New. Because people were freaking out, because you put Ginger on and you got this attractive chick singing, and she's in some of the songs she starts out just singing, and if you don't know the band, like, it's okay, like, all right, she has a great voice, and then it gets into the part, and people are like, oh shit, and like a lot of their
that's it, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's clever. Isn't that clever marketing?
Yeah,
it's clever marketing, isn't it?
I don't know if that's even marketing or maybe people just
absolutely.
stumbled on it.
100%. They knew what they were
put
doing.
It out.
I mean, they can tell me I'm wrong if they want. Feel free, but like when I saw that, was that Pisces, wasn't it? When I first saw that, I went, "Oh, this is clever. This is really clever," because it was live seeming as well. I mean, it is essentially live, but it's post-processing, so it's not live. It's not like if you'd see them live. So, so it sounds great. Quality's there, so it's digestible to your ears. So if it's live quality, you're like, eh. So, because people are very fickle, especially music listeners, and especially, I don't want to use the word mainstream music listeners, but you know what I mean. People who like just good quality. They don't care about how great the instrumentation is. They just like good songs. They want to bang their head to it. Nothing wrong with it, right? And so they knew that. So they create these really good songs that are simple but very well written, very cleverly designed. And as you said, like, they subvert expectation, and then they capitalized on that with a reaction thing. It was just the most genius marketing I've ever seen. Yeah. Now, whether that was deliberate or not, I do think it was. I really do think it was. It worked wonders for them. And, you know, they are a talented band. She's an incredible vocalist, so no shock to that they got. Yes, I do agree they got lucky. Yeah, all bands get lucky, in my opinion. We got lucky with Death Collector. I feel very lucky with Death Collector, and yet we're still small time. So, like, it's interesting. But in regards to, like, you know, with streaming, I feel like, especially after everything, the way the world events is as well, touring is going to very, very likely less now, especially with the rise of fuel prices. Plane prices go up. Touring vans are going to be more expensive to rent. They're going to be more expensive to run. You know, so, and it was already strangleholded in, you know, for smaller bands to cut their teeth in, like, say, Europe or the UK. So I do think that live streaming, internet content, you know, viral videos, things like that, I just think inadvertently it is going to be the way it's going to go. I can see it.
And you'll get people out there who just perfect it. You know, like, just because you're a good band doesn't mean you're good. You can put together a creative kind of YouTube video or TikTok, which is gigantic. But you'll find some guys out there where they might be basic players, but they can really draw people with their content, and they'll blow up that way.
Because it's not just what you do; it's how you do it. And that's the thing. If you do it intelligently enough and you market it right, you're always going to hit a good audience. You're always going to make fans. And if the music's good, it speaks for itself. It's one of those things. There's a plethora of absolute, so many great bands, like in every scene. Like in the States, there's some really good bands that are like doing really, really well, and then in the UK, there's some bands that are doing really well that no one has ever heard of. Like, I haven't heard of half of them in the States that are killing it. You know, so and likewise, you know, in the UK. So those bands, the only way really to move forward, if you're going to make any sort of like more like element of success, is to be utilizing all the tools. You know, the TikToks, the you know, Instagram Reels, Facebook Reels, get it all integrated. Everything becomes one.
Yeah, that's the way it's moving. Better or worse.
But it is, and we can't stop it. It's out of control now. We can't stop it. Like, it's where the money is. That's the reality of it. So, but the problem is, as you were saying earlier, like, a lot of bands don't. Or the older bands, especially the over 30s, basically, you know, 35s, they're going to be like, I don't know what TikTok is, I don't like it, I'm not going to use it. And I feel so frustrated for those people, because I'm like, you're missing out on such a good tool. Like, I've got, 6,000 followers on TikTok now, like, and I joined it around start of lockdown, just I was bored. I was like, well, let's use it to promote. Got a couple of good videos on there, got a video that went viral-ish, sort of. You know, 500,000 views, that's quite a lot. I was like, fuck, 500,000, that's a lot, right? I was like, whoa. And it's still growing. I was like, fuck. But that brings attention to the page, which then could potentially bleed onto the bands. You know?
Yeah, TikTok is how I found you.
Yeah, exactly. Right, exactly my point. I mean, I don't use it as much as I probably should and could, because I don't have the time. Yeah. But I do try to keep... not relevant, it's a really bad word to use, but I suppose that's what it is. I try to keep as much relevancy as much as I can, but I'm too busy doing the real stuff, which sounds a little condescending.
Exactly.
It's a little bit pretentious.
No, it's not. It's a truth, though. It's a truth.
It is. I'm doing the real stuff, not the internet, oh, come and do some stuff with me, and then they're actually not releasing any music, and it's just like, well, if you spent all your time doing an album instead, okay.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, not to sound like
both now.
Not to sound like an asshole, but some of those people that they might be quote unquote TikTok famous, like, okay, out of all those people who follow them or comment, like, are they really their friends? Like, when that person's not on TikTok, like, what are they doing at night? Are they just sitting down, eating dinner and watching Netflix by themselves? Like, how great could it be, you know? But
yeah, because that's the thing. Like, there's nothing is more satisfying than creating something on its own merits and releasing it with the anxiety of that, you know, the fear and of criticism and, you know, will your art be judged worthy? You know, is it going to be good enough?
Yeah.
Are people going to resonate? Is it going to resonate with people? See, with TikTok, you can get all the good bits without the negativity or the pain. The worst you're going to get is someone going negative comment. That's it, and that doesn't matter because it's not something you've created. It's not your art, so it's easy to separate from it. So it's more of a protection of your sort of like, you know, I call it like the dopamine bank. You know, we like to like build it up and have all these positive things because humans we're creatures of habit. We like good things. We don't like bad things.
Yeah, for sure.
So like for example, TikTok's algorithm is tuned to only show you good things. Well, it was. Now it's like feeding off hate, which is basically every social media goes to that point. But I find like TikTok is, I find it, you've got to be a contributor to that hate for it to become part of your feed, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it does. Like it's like you said, the algorithm. It might have been created by people, but like I mean, once it gets too far, it's just a computer to like taking your stats and like you said, you've created it. Like if you stumble upon that stuff, like there's something in your history that shows that you would be interested in it potentially. So
yeah, and one thing about like streaming and social media as well, like it's all becoming very integrated, as in like it's all pretty much one. I mean, the metaverse thing is a start. That's just the start. At some point, Facebook or whatever will buy TikTok or Twitter or something. You know, like it's gonna happen. I mean, did you see about Epic Games buying Bandcamp?
Did they?
Yeah, right. No one really talks about it.
I haven't heard about it, no.
Yeah, right. I've seen it on a couple of articles, but no, it's not news. Which I think that's newsworthy. That a huge gaming corporation has bought an independent music platform. That doesn't bode well for me. I'm optimistic relatively. I think it'll be fine, but I don't know, man.
Are they leaving like Bandcamp alone, but they own it?
I don't know.
Do they have to change any?
There's not much information the last time I checked. All I know is that they're going to update the website and the browser to make it more integrated. That's all I know. So that might be a good thing or a bad thing. We don't know yet.
Yeah,
As far as I know, it shouldn't change. They'd be stupid if they did change it, or if they didn't improve it. I think they could improve it, but I want to see what they do. We'll keep open-minded.
Yeah, I think Bandcamp's good because if you're independent, lesser known person, like you can put your stuff on there for free, right? Whereas if you want to put something on Spotify or Apple Music, you have to pay to put it on in most cases. Yeah. And like Bandcamp's good because you can just put it out there. It's at least something where you can promote it. Be like, here's a link. Here's some of the songs. So you just hope that doesn't get taken away for those kind of people.
So like Bandcamp. See the way it works. Have you used Bandcamp before?
Not really. Way back. But
yeah. So it takes
years.
a cut. It takes a cut from your earnings.
Oh really?
Yeah. That's kind of the deal. It's like, but they will only take what you make. So if you make nothing, they take nothing. So
okay.
So it's not a lot. It's like 10% or 5%, and 10% of $1,000 is only $100. So it's not the end of the world.
Yeah, for a person that's making $1,000, or like $100 is a lot. So 10% is a pretty good percentage.
It's not bad, and also as well is that Bandcamp has a community surrounding it. Bandcamp Fridays. You've got people sharing, oh, what did you buy on Bandcamp? I never hear anyone, what did you stream on Apple today? I never see that. So there is a community around it, and there's a lot of people that support as well. Like, you know, they save their money for Bandcamp Friday, and then they buy stuff. So it's like a holiday. It's like Black Friday for metalheads, but it's like every other month, or well, every month or so. And it's interesting. I'm hoping Bandcamp Friday stays, because I feel like it's allowed bands, on smaller variety at least, to get more notice, and the fans are happier, the bands are happier, Bandcamp are getting money. I really don't see it as an issue, really. I mean, Bandcamp still get their money, even though the Bandcamp Friday they don't take the cut from, but, you know, that's only once a month, otherwise they're still getting all the proceeds. So for them as a company, it works out fine for them. They're not making as much as they could, but they're also encouraging more people to buy. So in a way, they might be making more in the long run. I think it was clever anyway. But yeah, so Bandcamp is a good one.
Yeah. All right, man. So you are. What bands are you currently active in? Are you?
Okay. Yeah.
Grimorte. I know Grimorte, which I listen to, which is kind of more of like in the U.S. we call it like sludge metal, stoner metal, that kind of vibe.
Oh, okay.
And
like doom metal.
Yeah. That too.
Yeah.
And then of course Ashen Crown. You guys haven't put anything out in quite some time though. You guys are still active.
Yeah. So basically, we released our debut EP on November the 1st, 2019. As you probably remember, the pandemic hit in December, November. So we released our album. Then there was the pandemic, so we never toured the album. So we spent all this time and money on this album, released it, and we couldn't tour it. We couldn't promote it properly because nobody cared about music at that point. Everyone was like, "Oh my God, we're gonna die." Whoa. You know, like no one was really paying attention to it, so it kind of flopped a little bit. I'm still appreciate all the people that supported and bought it, and you know who have continued to as well. I mean, it's people keep finding us all the time, which is great. But there is always that frustration. I've accepted it, but I will not ignore that there's a frustration of like, oh, what could have been.
Well, I think that should be a starting point. That is a fucking awesome band, yo. I hadn't heard of Ashen Crown. I talked to you, and we agreed to do the interview, and I knew, all right, Death Collector, what else is this dude in? And it took me to Ashen Crown, and it makes sense. It's a lot more polished than Death Collector, but after what you told me before, that you could tell, like you were in a studio for that.
Yeah. Our friend Neil, who's part of Initiate Audio and Media, he's also in a band called Chris Thriller. I recommend checking them out if you like your Fear Factory kind of groovy sort of new metal, things like that. Chris Thriller, they're really good. I'll send you a link actually.
Send it over.
Yeah, so he mixed and mastered and recorded it for us in his studio. So it was a new experience for me. I've never been in a studio before until that point. I was completely new to it. So we did our best with what we had, and it was we learned a lot of lessons. I mean, the album is as good as it could have been at the time. It's not as good as I would have liked it, but then that's how it works as a musician.
That's always how it is, though.
Always how it is. It's because the way I see it is that if it's never good enough, that means at least you're always striving for better. So you can't really complain too much, because it means at least I won't kind of level out in mediocrity like a lot of bands do. They'll just go, we've got our unique sound, we'll just stick to it for the next 25 years.
It's always good to put a date on something for musicians, because like it'll never end, dude. Like it'll literally never end. You wake up every morning, you could pull up the file and go through it, and you'll find something to edit or something to shuffle or every day. Like, so if you don't put a stop to it and just say or put it in somebody else's hands, then it'll go on forever.
Yeah. I do feel like when you're in a band and you're releasing, as I said, when you release art out to the public, it's the best way of explaining it. It is art in a way, it's expression. So you kind of it's like a child. You just have to let them go and let them be adults. They're grown up now. Let them go.
Yeah.
Just nothing you can do anymore.
Yeah.
That's it. That's kind of how I treat it. It's like it's done now. Our baby's grown up. It's making fans all around the world still, and we'll see it at some point again in the future. It's like, might visit, have some food with the kids and say hello. When it has grandchildren, might see them. But yeah, it's interesting. That analogy was very strange. Got this weird
That was
image in my head
accurate.
now.
It was accurate.
I've got a weird image in my head, just like of an album bottle feeding in EP.
Yeah, but no, it's just, that's
full album one day.
It was a strong collection of songs on there. I mean, it was a really good album. I mean, whether you know you think you're disappointed with it or not, but it was really solid. I like that song, "Right to Rise."
Yeah, that's one that a lot of people don't really like.
It's a sleeper, yeah.
Like it.
They dislike it.
I don't know. Nobody has overtly said they don't like it. It just never is a favorite ever. I'm not a single person ever. So it was nice to hear it from you.
They're idiots.
That feels good.
I'm a sucker for a good breakdown. You know, like not too much, too much. I don't like the bands that like the whole. I mean, I'm not gonna say I don't like them, but where the whole song is a breakdown and like you've lost the value of the breakdown. You know,
exactly.
You have to kind of build to it. There's a nice breakdown in that song, which I really like.
Context is everything to a breakdown. If you don't have it, it just doesn't hit.
Yeah,
it just doesn't hit. Like, and I don't know. That's my opinion. I do actually. I'm kind of jealous of people that could just listen to metalcore and deathcore all day and just listen to breakdowns. I'm like, I couldn't do it.
It's watered down at some point, though. Yeah,
I just get so bored. I mean, deathcore musicians themselves are getting bored of it. Like, because, I mean, you got bands like Mental Cruelty, they're like, yeah, let's just do black metal. You know, and you got Black Tongue as well, you know, and they were just like, yeah, let's just do doom. You know, and I'm like, yeah, because breakdowns are fine, just, you know, you've got to write a song, guys.
Yeah.
Music. I mean, again, there's two different listeners, isn't there? There's the music lovers, and then there's the people that just want to bang their head. So, I do forget that sometimes. Because I'm always going to come from the music-loving perspective, but not everyone loves music. They just listen to it while they're in the car, and things like that. I do forget that.
Yeah, and I hate this kind of cliche that people use when like the average music fan. But you say I love this band, they'll be like, oh well, all their songs sound the same. But like some bands, it kind of is true. Like if you go through a whole album, if you listen to it. And then somebody asks you, like, what are your favorite 2 songs off that album? And you kind of have to look back and think about it and, like, research it. It's like, maybe there's not enough variety in there.
Yeah. Like, for example, like with Tool, for example. That's a good example.
That's a band people say it about all the time. Oh, their songs sound the same. Which,
because
I don't know.
They do, to a point.
Yeah.
But they're still great.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Like, for sure. I'll still absolutely lap it up like just a pathetic fanboy I am. I'll just be like, yes, Maynard, give me more.
Yeah. So you guys...
give me some of your bacon wine.
You guys played a Bloodstock twice.
Oh, yeah. So, basically, we formed in 2016, December, and we played Bloodstock in 2017, August. So, within conception to like Bloodstock, we only played 9 gigs, so 8 gigs. So Bloodstock was our 9th gig, like as a band, which we played the Melt to the Masses competition to get that slot. So it was like a battle of the bands. We happened to win it, which I still don't think we should have, but I guess we did a good job, so can't complain. I guess there's no point moaning about it now.
Yeah, you're a critic, man. Like, you're so
I don't know. Back then, we were very rough. You know, it was a local band. You know, we much better shape these days, but so we felt like we didn't like deserve it as much because there were bands that worked harder than us, but we just did the best performance on the night, and that's why we got it. So we accept that. It's just you do feel a little bit like we stole it. You know, all these bands would go for years, and there's us just like, hi, we just started. You know, but anyway, so we went straight out into the festival experience immediately. So we haven't even played like a festival ever at that point. So to go into play one of the biggest festivals in the country was a bit crazy. So we played something called the New Blood stage, which is where all the bands that win the competition go from all around the cities. So there's a winner picked from each city, basically. So we were playing there, and we had about, I think it was about, it was a lot. It was like 600, 700, 800 people, something like that. And for a band that went from nothing to that was crazy.
And the full show is on YouTube, I believe.
Yeah.
People want to check it out.
Bloodstock allowed us to actually do that, and I thought it was really nice of them. They didn't have to do that.
And it's good quality also, which is big for a live show.
Yeah, I mean, it's as good as what you're gonna get, like, without you doing it yourself. So we couldn't complain. Like, I look back at that as a young vocalist, inexperienced and not as good as I am now, and it's fun to watch how long ago that was, how far I've progressed, and how much has changed, and it's crazy. Like, I look back at that video and I'm like, wow, I sound nothing like that anymore. But it's cool to see how quickly I've grown, and that feels good, satisfying. 'Cause nothing is worse than feeling like you've stagnated and you're not growing. So that's always really good. So we played that, and that was fantastic. I still haven't processed that one, and it's been years. And then obviously we, after the relative success of their album launch before the pandemic, we got booked for Bloodstock Festival again, and that was to play the Sophie stage, which is the second biggest stage. So that's the one behind the main stage, which has about 5,000 capacity in the tent. Like, it's good big tent. We were very shocked that we were asked, because we thought, like, because the album didn't do as well as we'd like, it might not get us it. But luckily, I did a lot of promotion as well, and some of the guys did as well, and that kind of got us a lot of attention. So we did some good gigs as well. We played with bands like Obituary and things like that. So we didn't sit around. We capitalized on what we had. We did play some smaller festivals as well. So we got the slot. That was probably the most surreal experience of my life. Like, I don't think anything's probably ever going to top that unless I play a bigger festival. That's literally it, I suppose. You know, we didn't know what we were getting in for. I've never played a stage that big before, and I've never played to that many people before. I'm not a very nervous person. I'm kind of just happy just to do music, and I'm happy doing it. I don't get too self-critical when it comes to, like, live stuff. Afterwards, I might be like, it could have been a bit better, but I don't get flustered about it. So, you know, I went out there, did my best, try not to cry through the entire set, like, because it's just so overwhelming.
Yeah.
I can't explain it. You got like 4,000.
Well, it's a dream. It's a childhood dream of yours, I'm sure, playing a big show like that.
In a way, yeah, it is in a way, because like I only got into metal quite late. Like, I was a late bloomer, so it was like 16. Well, that's not really that late, I suppose. Like 16 was kind of the time I started getting into metal, you know, getting to the Slipknots and things like that, and I was like, yeah, they're pretty good. And then I kept coming across other bands and different genres and darker music. So, you know, I come across industrial music, you know, bands like Fear Factory and things like that, Rammstein, and I come across like, oh, Dimmu Borgir. Oh, this is kind of cool. I like this. And then I discovered Gojira, and Gojira was quite an awakening. Like, it was a Terra Incognita. It's like one of their first albums. It was the second album, actually. That's the heaviest album they've done, and it's their best album in my opinion. And if you haven't heard it, listen to it.
Which one did you say?
Terra Incognita by Gojira.
Okay, yeah, I would argue on you about that one. I think Flying Whales is their best, but that's just my opinion.
Oh man, that album Terra Incognita is amazing. I also really love Master Cirrus. That's a great album. Yeah. But either way, so yeah, I got into like music a little bit late. So for childhood dream aspect, not overly, but it was something that I never thought I could do, but then I managed to get to do, and I'm just there like kind of processing it still. It's still very surreal. I can't even remember doing it. It's kind of like, even though I know it happened, I just don't remember doing it. Yeah. Because it's like I kind of like go blank. It's like, ah!
So how do you make the jump from, you said that some of the bands that you listen to are like Slipknot and Fear Factory, which is a lot different vocally than what you're doing in Death Collector. So how do you make that jump from kind of more like the quote unquote like new metal era to like heavy death metal vocals? Like how
Yeah, so vocally, so I never started out wanting to do vocals, but it was something that I thought was cool. I've always liked to do voice stuff. I like voice acting and doing strange things with my voice. Always liked doing that, you know, like impressions, stuff like that, sounds, demons. You know, I used to love Inspector Gadget. I used to like do the I can't remember the name of the bad guy now. Guy's left me, but you know, the one that's got a really deep, like growly voice, like, "I'll get you next time, Gadget." Yeah. You know, that guy. And I used to imitate that as a kid, and stuff like that, and doing weird impressions, and it was really cool. And then what really got me to want to do vocals was probably Gojira, and so Joe from Gojira, also Randy Blythe, Lamb of God. Like, because I was ignorant, I didn't know about all the different bands and stuff. But that's the first time I ever heard a false chord vocal, right? So that's the style he does. It's false chord, and that's what it's called. Like, I'm not going to bore you with the technicalities, but anyway. So I've never heard that before. I've never heard someone do that tone and like that rasp and control, and it was like, ooh, that's cool. And then that's where it started. Like, my fascination came from Randy Blythe. I'm not the biggest Lamb of God fan, but I absolutely love some of their records, and I think they got some great songs. And Randy is an incredible vocalist and a great frontman. So I took a lot of inspiration from him, and then that kind of started my vocal career at that point. But I didn't know where to start, so I asked one of like my local scene kids, you know, he's into the metalcore and stuff, and he's got a band that he screams in, and I was like, how do I do vocals? And he taught me some stuff which turned out to be completely wrong, but that's fine, you know, like, I only learned that later on. So after some trial and error, I started to like develop a sound and kind of get something. It didn't sound right, and then I started to like look it up, educate myself, watch tutorials, and then I just got a little bit obsessed, like I did with accents and voices and sounds. I kind of went a bit obsessed and figured out how it works, how to do it, and the techniques involved, and I've just basically applied them from a basic and like technical standpoint, and then just kind of developed my own style from there. So how I got to Death Collector is very interesting. So as my music universe expanded and kept expanding, I was discovering more and more bands. I then discovered Cattle Decapitation.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that was my sexual awakening. Holy shit! Right, Travis Ryan is possibly one of the most insane vocals I've ever heard. Like, I was just like, what am I hearing? And that's where it completely hit off. That's when I went, right, I'm learning how he did that. Still can't do his vocal. Fuck knows how he does it. Some people have tried to explain it, but even they can't do it properly. So, Travis, you're a legend. But and that was like a real awakening for me, and I was like, fuck it, I'm doing it. I'm becoming a vocalist. I'm just doing it, and I did. It's like, and I have this thing where if I get something in my head, I want it to happen. I'll make it happen no matter what. It will happen. And you know, if it doesn't, I won't get bogged down by it. But so far, everything I've wanted musically, I have achieved so far. I'll probably gonna get
it should emphasize the so far, because like I said, Ashen Crown should put out another album for sure.
Oh, we know, don't worry.
All right, and it's long overdue. So, all right, man.
Yeah, we know.
Well, listen, I gotta run. I gotta pick my daughter up. Believe it or not,
okay.
I'm not a full-time podcaster. I'm a dad, and I do have a day job. Within 2 minutes, all right. Now, the name of the podcast is Headbangers at the Hangar. It's kind of a reference to the song Hangar 18 from Megadeth.
I love that song.
A reference about aliens, which I am a huge UFO alien fanatic.
Okay.
Real quick, man, you believe in them or not? You think the UFOs are all bullshit?
I have the best answer for you. You're going to love this. I want, with every fiber of my being, for aliens to exist and contact us as soon as possible.
Yep.
Until that moment, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's the same way I have with religion as well. It's the same kind of thing. I'm like, well, one is way more likely than the other, which is aliens existing is way more likely than God. I'm sorry if that offends anybody. Like, one's invisible, the other one at least we have some smoke.
Yes. For sure.
So I would love aliens to come down and chat to us, or they're already maybe among us. Who knows?
Yeah. At least here in the U.S., like the government slowly like keeps like they give you like little crumbs, like, oh, we have craft not of this world, and it just keeps building little by little. I feel like eventually it'll be like 10 years down the road, and by the time they have like a body, people will just kind of be like, all right. Because they've slowly been building it.
Yeah, you know? That's the common theory, isn't it? It's like they've been slowly in through media and film, and
because they don't deny it anymore. They're out like they either say we don't know what it is, or they admit like it's out of this world. You know,
there is a lot of anomalies that are in space and in our atmosphere and on the planet that we do not understand from a physics point of view. We just don't we haven't got the information yet. So a lot of that can actually be comprised down to like, well, maybe it's something that has nothing to do with the natural order of things. Maybe it's something else, like a different life form. Because if we're a carbon-based life form that exists on this planet, then surely there is others. There has to be. The rule of law averages. There's got to be at least one or two in the ever-expanding universe.
Yeah.
I mean, we can't be that self-entitled to the point we think we're the only planet.
Yeah.
Like,
even the skeptic is like, yeah, the cosmos are pretty big. What are the chances, you know? So
we'll see. That's basically my answer is like, I hope.
Yeah.
But until I see it, I can't. I'll wait.
All right, dude. Well, listen, I had a bunch more questions that I wanted to ask you, but it's all right. We got through a lot of good stuff here. But hey, next time when you guys start maybe getting closer to another Ashen Crown album or the full-length Death Collector, I'll ask you back on, and
yeah, definitely,
we can talk about it, dude. I really like it. So
yeah, no, we'll definitely have a catch. But I'll keep you updated, or besides you might follow me anyway, so you might see me
I'll be following you. All right, man. Appreciate it. Have a good day. Okay.
See you soon.
All right. Bye.